Uncensored, no holds barred talk. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is Global Reality Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live edition of the Global Reality right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves, and yes, it's been a while, and it's been a while since I've been here with you, but you know what? It's all been in, with good reason, so glad you could join us here tonight, and we're going to be getting into a whole bunch of news and a bunch of topics and a bunch of different things here tonight on the show, running the gamut of all things, and I'm going to sort of do actually this week, there hasn't been a lot of news this week. It's kind of been a slow news week with everything now being garnered towards the instigating and the, the real attempts to try and instigate civil unrest, political destabilization throughout the planet, which has always been one of the big, massive parts of their agenda, and they are pushing massively forward with that. And it's very difficult for me sometimes to get up here and tell you that 3 days in a row. You understand? Especially right now, since I'm working on the films, the last couple of weeks, we just haven't been doing well financially with the show, and the network and things, but of course, as they always do, the tide has turned and turned in our favor yet again. And so thank you to everybody out there who has supported us and helped us get through our troublesome times. And now we're doing well, and we are moving on into the next month. So thank you so much to everybody out there for supporting us and helping out our work and helping it continue. Because we're busting my balls off right now, 16, 17 hours a day on the film. My sleep schedule is so fucked right now. It's crazy. I'll be up all night. I'll be up till about noon, crash, get back up, I'm going a lot of hours working on this thing right now, and I'm exhausted from it. And so, if I'm going to get into talking about news and things like that, some days this stuff where this takes you is you end up talking about the same stuff a bunch of days in a row, and I'm just tired of that, man. I'm going on 4 fucking years of doing this, and I'm just I get real sick to death, tired of being forced into a position sometimes where I have to flog a dead horse over and over again, and I'm just not going to do that. So. And I appreciate everybody's emails, and I appreciate everybody, this, that, the other. But I gotta say it again. I'm not a monkey, man. I'm not just you can't snap your fingers and throw some coins my way and, expect me to be automatically inspired enough to get up here and do this, because you have to gut up to do it. It's like, you really do. You have to really hype yourself up to do it. And it's like, I made the analogy before, but it would be like asking a musician to play 5 gigs, 5 days in a row every week, week in and week out, every month of every year, for little to no pay. And oh, by the way, every time that you do a new show every day, you have to have a completely new material every day. could be a variation on maybe some of the stuff you've played before, but you need to have all new material every day that you can perform on the spot, ready, set, go. That's kind of what it's like. You know, no musician in the right mind would do that. And that's kind of the same way it is here, you know, trying to day in and day out come up with new material and things that we're talking about that aren't flogging the dead horse. Because I've done that, and sometimes you do have to do that. But I'd much rather come up here and do something like we're doing today, which is basically all the news that I've gathered up over the past 3 or 4 days or 5 days, whatever. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And we'd love to have email questions from you. We're going to be getting into some email questions here tonight, some different ones that have been sent. So if you have email questions, if you have topics, I'm always open to topics. You throw something my way, and I'll do my best to talk about it and tell you what I don't and do and don't know about it. So globalrealityshow@gmail.com. That's Global Reality Show. No spaces, no nothing in between there. Global Reality Show, just one solid block there. globalrealityshow@gmail.com. So that's where you can email those in at tonight. You can also join the chatters, the interactive part of the show. So hello to all our Moonbats in there tonight. And yeah, I've been working on trying to book the Demigods a bunch of you have everything's through this thing called Sonic Bids now. You have to go through and apply through all these things. So I've been going through and applying to get us into different music festivals throughout the country and stuff. We're trying to like just, you know, throw a bunch of darts at the board and see what hits, because we want to go play somewhere out of our own state so that we can you know, get exposure to people that aren't in Texas. And so what we're trying to do is we're basically just applying to all these different we've applied to Summerfest in Wisconsin up there, the biggest music festival in the world from what I understand. And also from what I understand is it seems that they pick just about everybody that applies for this thing from what I understand, and they pay you well too. So that's cool. We're going to have to get a trailer for our gear at some point. I did find one on Craigslist, was like $900, which is great because they're like 3,000 new. But somebody right here's got one for like $900. It's exactly the one that we need. But once we get that, yeah, then we'll be able to, you know, go. Basically, what we want to do is find some of these festivals and go play at one, and then play the places in between, you know. And the cool thing is now we've got so much merch. Delphi's been working on all these T-shirts and art pieces and stuff that we're going to sell at shows too. So that's very cool. We're trying to make it kind of a more interactive and more things where you can come to the come to the show. When you come to one of our shows, you have the opportunity to also walk away with with something that's a piece of art that's original. You know, all our T-shirts, all made by hand. Delphi made all those. It's awesome. So yeah, we're just trying to keep it pushing forward here with everything. And so yeah, with the music, that's one aspect of it that we do, and then we've got the radio show here. And also, yeah, I'm busting trying to work and get these films done, and then the Demigods got to get their record done. We got to get our record done and get it out there. That's another thing that's on the menu to do. Plus, I'm going back into this rock wall thing. I'm just putting that out there. I'm going back into the rock wall thing hard. I'm ready to. I put it off for a long time, and we're going to be. Oh, you didn't know about the T-shirts? You haven't seen the T-shirts? Oh man, let me pull that up for you real quick. I'll drop some of those in the chat. Yeah, we've got some. Yeah, they're all custom. All of the T-shirts are one of a kind art pieces. And we have panties too for you ladies that have all seeing eyes on them. I kid you not, I'm not even kidding. We have panties with all seeing eyes on them. How cool is that? Yeah, it's very cool. So they're all custom art pieces. So if you buy one of our T-shirts, and I don't know if we're going to sell them online or anything. We may at some point, but they're all like, they're all just custom pieces that are one of a kind. But anyway, yeah, I'm going back into the rock wall thing. I wanted to make a film on it. And right now I'm in the process of trying to decide what the next project and film that I work on is going to be. But I feel I've gone back into it, and new things have come to light after going back and reviewing some of the information. Like, for instance, I heard this gentleman talking about, I played it here on the network several times, an interview with a guy by the name of Dave Campbell. And we actually met with Dave Campbell. And yeah, it was strange, to say the least. I don't know. We got the impression that this guy, I don't know, wasn't human. It was just weird. But anyway, the guy, he says that, and this blew me away because of all the research I've been doing with that's been coming up in the New Madrid fault. And this gentleman, Dave Campbell, claims that when the original last time there was the big earthquake along the New Madrid, that it actually shook loose a lot of the entrances to the rock wall. And I went, well, that's a bit of a coincidence, isn't it? I mean, that you would have, you would have this guy talking about the New Madrid thing connecting to the rock wall. And I had thought about that. I'd wondered if there was sort of a connection to that. I still wonder. And then when he talked about that being, because the New Madrid fault line is very far away from where rock wall is, it's interesting. But we had a year or two ago, we had a listener out there. I don't even know if this person still listens to my show or even thinks I'm worth a fuck or whatever else. I don't know. I haven't heard from this person in a long time. But if you're out there, there was a person out there at one time that wanted to put up some money to have to conduct a new dig, like find a piece of property that had some of this rock wall on it, buy it, and then basically fence it off and have a private dig there, and wanted to fund that. If that person is still out there listening to the show, please contact me, because at this point we've got a lot more, there's been a lot more legwork and a lot more groundwork done on looking into and seeing this done. I think we've got a lot more people assembled now and interested in this than we did at the time when that offer was made. But that person is still out there. Please contact me, globalrealityshow@gmail.com. I want to go back into this. I want to find some things out about whatever this is. I feel like it's my calling to, because I kind of grew up around that area my whole life, and always grew up there having weird experiences. A friend of mine was over last night. We were talking about that, all the strange experiences we had when we were growing up. We had like 3 hours of missing time. Me and my buddy did one time. I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the show before or not. But it's right in this area where it seems to be a vortex. It's right over the I-30 bridge, right around where there's this submerged parts of the rock wall and these different chambers that go way down underground. And my buddy was saying that he believes that there's and I have to agree with this with the information I've seen. He says that he believes that there's some sort of weird gravity flux right there in that area that causes the gravity to be weaker, because he said he's noticed things where he used to and still does, but he's a big motorcycle guy, and him and another friend of mine, and they would they experience strange inductions in speed, strange accelerations in in right around that area, on their motorcycles. They couldn't explain, 230, 240, 250 miles an hour in excess of those. I mean, very fast. I mean, it's unbelievable. But anyway, yeah, I definitely want to go back and researching into it. And another piece of information that I picked up on that I didn't pick up on before in these interviews with Dave Campbell was there was a gentleman who did a paleo magnetic survey. That's the term, paleomagnetic survey. And I don't know how you go about getting a paleomagnetic survey done, but after this information I found out, I want to find out how much a paleomagnetic survey costs. I want to find out how much it costs. I want to find out if maybe we have a listener or somebody out there that knows how to do it. I know we have I've been contacted by some listeners before who said they were in archaeology. So, hey, if any of our archaeology listeners out there know how to do a paleo, what did I say again? Paleomagnetic survey, please contact me, globalrealityshow@gmail.com, because there was a gentleman that did conduct a paleomagnetic survey on the rock wall, and he was so mortified by his results that to this day, and he has never spoke of the results, he will not tell anyone, and he also said that the results will not be published in his lifetime. He has special orders with his estate that when he dies, his findings will be published. Well, what did he find? Because if he did a paleomagnetic survey, that might indicate that, I mean, a paleomagnetic survey would be able to give him the ability to see the entire structure, how big it is, how far underground it went, and everything else. So this guy was mortified, terrified, would not talk about what he found. So what could have been that he found that scared this guy to death so much? Scared him to the point he wouldn't talk about it. You know, if it's a magnetic survey, that would go a long way towards what my buddy was saying about there being some kind of fluctuation in gravity there, because, you know, if you had something that was producing magnetics or an electromagnetic wave, you would have fluctuations in that. You would also have fluctuations in time and the whole space-time continuum. And that would explain our experience one time when we were like 16, 17 years old, and we left where we lived, which is about 35, 40 miles outside of Dallas. We left at noon. We crossed that bridge. When we got across it, it was 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And we were supposed to be at work at like 1. And we couldn't explain how we lost all this time. We had another friend that we went to high school with, too, that experienced the same thing there. We chased a UFO one time all the way from like Greenville, Texas, all the way to right where that bridge is at. I mean, just crazy stuff. But something's down there, and it's something they want to keep covered up. And I sort of kind of pushed it by the wayside for a while, but I really want to get back into this. I feel like I mean, there's just too many anomalies, man. There's just too much crazy stuff not to get into. I mean, the fact that when they did the original dig, well, the fact that the wall is made out of geopolymers, right? The wall is made out of geopolymers. It's made out of 3 different types of crystals that were brought together from various sources. I've held parts of it in my hand, folks. Literally, we met with John Lindsay, me and Delphi. We all went out to his house. He was the guy that did the dig. He worked on Apollo 12, dude, and found out about this thing. I don't know what this guy's involved in, man, but I'll tell you what, that dude had some shit in his house I know he ain't supposed to have. He had this fucking Mayan spaceman statue that should have been in a museum. That it was real. It was not a replica. I've never seen another one like it, but I don't think that dude is supposed to have that. But anyway, he showed me, he poured it in my hand, parts of the wall. It's geopolymer crystals that are not found anywhere around the area of North Texas. Closest they're found is Arkansas. So somebody had to have brought 3 different types of crystals and then fused them together to form these masonry walls that go all the way down to the shale. They're 50 feet under the ground. The wall is 50 feet under the ground. They had to go down. They went down to the shale, and we got the video of the original dig. It's up on YouTube. And just type rock wall separately, 2 words, and then Rockwall, Texas, and it'll come up, and you could see the wall. They found pre-flood ash at the bottom of this thing. Pre-flood ash. I mean, when you find out there's pre-flood ash all the way down at the shale level, it really makes those stories of the Bhagavad Gita and, this Star Wars tale that the Bhagavad Gita describes of space wars and the Earth being reduced to ash by this, apparent nuclear weapon type thing. I mean, but that's what they found. And they found fresh sand dollars right next to this thing. They found shark's teeth embedded into it. There was giant bones of giant people, like Nephilim type people found around the area. There's pictures of it online. it's just an unbelievable thing. And there are mass amounts of people that are doing huge real estate deals to get this thing covered up and get things built. They're building $1 million homes on parts of where this thing is built or where this thing is found. I mean, it was country out there 10 years ago. They had the original dig in 99. It was country out there. And since then, that real estate has gone through the roof. The housing market's flat, but yet if you go out there now, they're building new homes and subdivisions and everywhere out there every day, new stuff out there right around where the prime rock wall territory is. But, the person I think before that would talked about wanting to put up cash to have a new dig. They said that they wanted myself. For some reason they wanted me, Lee Rogers, and Freeman to be involved with that. But hey, whatever. I'm down for whatever anybody wants to do. If somebody out there wants to do that, please let me know, because this is something huge here. And every time somebody gets close to it or starts digging and finding out and doing stuff, they get scared. Another thing we need isotope dating. Especially isotope. We need some sort of isotope dating on either on the rock itself or on the wheel that was found, which I also held in my hand. They found a wheel embedded in this wall that they say is I don't know, 12,000 years old. And it's smelted. It's tin, copper. It's like 4 or 5 different metals melted together to make this wheel. I held it in my hand. The guy had it in his house. Unbelievable. But there's Mud Puppy's got the video there. They claim the scientific explanation for that is that's a natural rock formation. Again, the question of how 3 different types of crystal geopolymers could have been brought together when they don't exist naturally in that area for hundreds of miles to create a wall like that, with everything else that's been found around it. And then, because it appears that it was built from multiple sources. My theory is that area right there at Lake Ray Hubbard, where the wall is at the same trajectory as Cape Canaveral. It's a perfect entryway into space. So as a gentleman who did the original dig, John Lindsay, had described, when they set the caterpillar on top of the wall that you see there in the video, it started to shake violently like it was going to take off. And he told me that he had an auditory perception of the entire wall. He could hear the entire, in his head, he could basically have a visual impression of the entire wall because of the frequencies of the way this thing was vibrating. They had to take the caterpillar off of it because it started shaking like it was going to fly off. So if it's at the perfect trajectory of space, it's right at the 33rd degree parallel. And we have this some sort of fluctuation in the gravity field where the gravity is weakened in that area, then I think we have a prime, especially with the giant bones, the bones of giants found around. I think we have a prime candidate that this was some sort of ancient launching platform for a race of extraterrestrials that crashed here and then made the indigenous people, the population around the area, their slaves in order to build this wall that would allow them to break free of Earth's gravity and blast off back into space. And it left a permanent signature there that has weakened the gravitational field. So across Lake Ray Hubbard, they've built a power plant that seemingly is a hydroelectric power plant. The only problem is there's not a dam around. But it appears, and this place is strange. Me and my buddy had a weird experience over there one time too. We got hit by some kind of energy force and blacked out. We were standing by this thing. So that's what I think it is. I think it's, there's something there that weakened the gravity. So what was ever there could take off, and it was permanently left there. And then it was used later on for other purposes, because later on then they found, temple rooms and everything else. And it's interesting because these were the people that were the forefathers of the Caddo Indians that existed later in that area. And the Caddo Indians were wiped out completely. I mean, there's no stories left of their, of their sky gods or any of that stuff left. It's an unbelievable thing. And I just feel that, I don't know, I feel like that's the next level for me. I feel like I've done some, knock it out of the park work exposing the CMP, along with my good friend Lee Rogers. I mean, he's been my partner going with this. I mean, since we met in 2008. And we were like, dude, let's do this. We told each other, all right. We shook hands when we left. We're like, all right, man, it's on. And it has been. And it's so, I feel like we've done some great work on that front, especially now with this new evidence that I found concerning. We'll talk about that in a bit we'll read the article that Lee wrote on it concerning the information about Jones having his cameras in a Council for National Policy meeting that he had in game 1.5. It's a huge piece of information. So thanks to Lee for putting that information out there. And I'm going to be on with Lee again real soon. I'm trying to figure out when I can do it right now, though, because I'm just real busy working on the films and stuff and haven't done any of my own shows. But real soon, in the next week, I would say, look for me to be on for 3 hours, commercial free with Lee Rogers again, and on his show. And we'll be getting into a lot of this stuff. But I feel that the next big thing for me to break out with on the information front should concern this rock wall. But then I also have the other film projects I want to do concerning, the occult and concerning, because I wanted to get to work on my occult history of music film this year, but I don't know if that's going to happen. That's some other things that need to be done first. But I'm going to really get on this thing and expose it, because if we find out what this is, the implications of this are staggering. And if we were to have a new dig or something, it would have to be kept ultimately quiet. I probably wouldn't even be able to come on the show and talk about it. Just because there just seems to be something where people get really scared and really nervous when you start digging into this rock wall thing. And if just the little bits of information that we have are true, and we find out more, I mean, this could be the whole thing. This could be what changes everything. You understand that, right? You understand the implications of this rock wall thing. You understand that this is evidence and proof of intelligent civilizations and life. Not thousands of years before we're told, hundreds of thousands of years, because a lot of the analysis they've done, a lot of this stuff they found from the rock wall, put it in excess of 550,000 years old. I've heard 55,000, 550,000. I mean, they just keeps, every time they find out more information or do more analysis on it, it pushes the date back hundreds of thousands of more years. There was one guy who is convinced beyond any shadow of a doubt, because of some of the writing that they found that looks like hieroglyphics, but it's older and they don't know what it is, than any language ever found on Earth. They found this on the rock wall. And this guy believes that it was a civilization who built the wall was a civilization of pre-Earth or pre-human Earth dwellers who were warm-blooded, intelligent reptiles. One of the guys that Dave Campbell mentioned in that radio interview, I can play it again later tonight as well for you guys that didn't hear it. I played it last night and earlier today, but I can play it again tonight. But apparently there's one guy out there that's he's convinced that's what it is. And there's the famous channeler, Ashiana Dean. You guys have heard of Ashiana Dean, I'm sure. I don't know how much credibility this woman has or doesn't have. That's not the point of what I'm bringing up here. I'll leave that to you to decide. But the point of the matter is, an interesting piece of information. Someone who actually got to ask Ashiana Dean a question. And then when he asks her a question, you get a response that's channeled from, whatever entity it is that she channels. I'm not even for sure about that. But this channeling answer to the question, what is the rock wall, was that it was a storehouse for ancient alien technology built after the fall of Atlantis. Now, it's very interesting when you think about that and the possibilities of whether or not that's true. Lake Ray Hubbard, where this thing is located at around the area of Rockwall, Texas, was not originally supposed to be a lake anyway. And when they started, it was supposed to be, I can't remember what they called it. There's a specific word they called this. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't originally supposed to be a lake when they built it. And, we're in the flatland here. Blackland Prairie, it's flat. The land's black. I mean, the elevation when you come out of Rowlett down Highway 66 into where the rock wall is located over the bridge, it's a 550-foot incline. That's not natural to this area, folks. It's not a rocky, hilly area. This is the flatlands. And, but it goes up to a 550 foot vortex. It just goes straight up incline. But yeah, so in the chat room saying, people say Denton is an energy vortex. Well, Denton's right on the 33rd degree parallel as well. It runs 380 runs all the way to the 33rd parallel, runs directly right through 380. Essentially, Highway 380 is the 33rd parallel. I don't know if you're aware of that. That's why I used to live I lived in Denton. I lived in Denton for a while. About 10 years ago, I lived up there. And I lived in Commerce too, about 15 or 16 years ago. And they're both on 380, boy, and they're both energy vortexes. Oh, it's crazy. We back in 2009 when me and Delphi and another friend of ours, Adele, we all went out to New Mexico to see David Icke, and we took 380 all the way out there, and yeah, it was bizarre, to say the least. It was that whole thing was bizarre. David Icke up there talking about reptiles. Boy, you are the reptile. My God. But yeah, anyway, it just fascinating stuff there with the whole rock wall thing. And I want to get back into this. I think it's something again that could change the whole game. It could uproot the foundations of science, religion, everything. And the biggest thing that we just don't have is what I want to do is make a film, not to try and, I don't think I can make a film where I can say definitively I can uncover without a shadow of a doubt what it is. But the fact of the matter is there's not a lot of information on it. So I seek to make a film which will at least have enough information, legitimate information in it that will hopefully start to raise some questions in the scientific community. And maybe we can get some accredited people that are archaeologists and scientists and people who have access to lab equipment and analysis and stuff like that, who may be interested in this and get interested and want to do some analysis for us. That's really, what I'm hoping. Just, raise the awareness on the issue. But let's get into some news here tonight. I want to talk about this article that Lee Rogers wrote pertaining to some of the information that I discovered about the Alex Jones CMP Phyllis Schlafly thing. How did Alex Jones obtain footage from inside a Council for National Policy meeting? That's a question we'll be asking in Secret Right Volume 2. The question surrounding Alex Jones and his many connections to individuals who have been affiliated with a secretive political organization, the Council for National Policy, continue to go unanswered. Jones has historically and continues to have individuals who have been members of the Council for National Policy as guests on his show. Although that in and of itself isn't bad, it is the fact that for many years, I would say it is bad. I disagree with you there, Brother Lee. It is bad. You shouldn't be having these fucking clowns on your fucking show. Can't you see who these guys are? Take a look at these guys. I don't see anybody in their right mind. And we know now. See, for the longest time, I struggled with wondering why there were certain hosts out there, radio hosts, who were all just loved me, man. They're all about supporting me, helping me out, all about wanting to have me on their show, all about I'm in the club, I'm in the clique, and then I start getting into the CMP stuff, and man, they started fucking separating themselves from me quick, fast, and in a hurry. And not really completely, but more like, well, hey, Josh, I'm cool with you as long as you don't bring up that CMP thing. And, some of these people would have, CMP guests on their show. They'd have Larry Pratt on their show, or they'd have the other guy, the Jew guy, Howard Phillips. They'd have one of them on their show. And then they, would sort of try and downplay the CMP stuff and say, oh, you can't say it's guilt by association or this, that, the other. You have people say that kind of thing. And then to find out that so many people are involved in these white nationalist groups. Some of these people are involved in white nationalist groups. And then you go, oh, well, it makes total sense why they would never touch the CMP stuff and why they wanted to downplay it, because it's full of the white nationalist crowd. I mean, Willis Carto, Liberty Lobby, who employs Jim Tucker and his Bilderberg coverage. I mean, my goodness, Larry Pratt, Howard Phillips, both in Estes Park, Colorado in 1990 at a white supremacist rally, laying out the foundations for what became the modern day militia movement. That was in Rolling Stone magazine, for God's sakes. Armed people victorious. Larry Pratt, we contra-style militias in this country. So Lee is being the nice guy here with this statement. Jones has historically continues to have individuals of members of the Council for National Policy as guests on the show. All that, in fact, in and of itself isn't bad. Well, I think Lee maybe has to say that because he's on a network with people that have those types on his show. That's what I think. I'm not picking at you, Lee. I'm just stating, my opinion. Don't hold it against me. But it's just me. But though I don't, anybody that cohorts with these fucking guys, I don't trust. I don't trust a one of them. I don't care what level they are, low, high, middle of the road. I don't care anything. You associate with these fucking clowns anymore after what I know and things I've seen, things I've learned now. You're on my list. You're on my list. You disavow these guys and you call this group out and you disavow any association with these people as soon as you find out about this information. And if you don't, you're on my list. Got me? Thank you. It is a fact that for many years he decided to whitewash or dodge questions about the Council for National Policy and has conducted softball interviews with many current and former associates of the group. He has also given many of these people like Paul Craig Roberts, Stan Monteith. I can't believe Lee didn't put prune face in parentheses and Paul Craig Roberts. I'm amazed by that. I think that's the first time I think I've ever seen Lee not refer to Paul Craig Roberts as prune face. That's very professional, sir. That's very professional. Good job. You're being nice again. I love that. I love that. Lee, I guess me and Lee are like good cop, bad cop. Lee walks in and is like, hey, look, you just tell me, can I impersonate Lee? Is that off the bounds? Look, if you just tell me about the Council for National Policy, I promise that I won't kick your ass. But if you don't tell me about it right now, I'm going to send my friend in here, Josh Reeves. He's going to come in here. He's going to kick your ass. It's not going to be pretty. Okay? I'm a nice guy. Play nice here by the rules. Tell me who's in the group. He's going to kick my ass now. But anyway, it's funny, man. Because, I wouldn't have been that nice. Let's continue on here. Where did the story go? There it is. Michael Kaufman, Larry Pratt, Phil Schlafly, and other people linked with the group a great deal of credibility. Jones continues to whitewash the group's importance within the globalist power structure, even after Charlotte Iserby, a former assistant secretary of education under Ronald Reagan, outed the group on his show as a globalist front group. Well, that's the whole thing. Because to me, what that says to me is that, do you believe that your guests have credibility or not, Mr. Jones? I would believe as many times as Alex has had on Charlotte Iserby on the show that he believes she has some credibility. Now I know he would try to. I can just hear his fucking voice now. I can just hear. Well, she's got some good information, folks. I don't agree with everything she says. I don't agree with 100% of it, but I can just hear it. That's what he'd say. So my question is who has the credibility and who doesn't? I'm just wondering, does Jones believe that Phyllis Schlafly has more credibility when she came on after Iserby and said that, it was just a supper club and a discussion group and all this other stuff and poo till the cows come home? Or does he believe that Charlotte Iserby has more credibility? See, he's not really, I mean, I have to give the guy credit. I mean, he definitely did a fantastic job on showing the people in his listening audience just how wide of a scope there is in what people say about the group. Now, I mean, you know, I've shown that here with my work, but I think Jones did that. And he's so dumb, or, you know, he didn't even know he was doing that. But that's what he inadvertently did. You know, he thought Charlotte Iserby was going to, you know, come on there and basically just tell the truth about the CMP and say, oh, it's this, that, and the other. But when she started laying out, talking about what it was, you know, he said, oh, because he sounded like he was, you know, believing her. And then when he has Schlafly on, he's like, oh, yeah, this CMP witch hunt that's going on, blah, 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 blah. Witch hunt. Nice choice of words there, Fonzie. The Council for National Policy meets in secret 3 times a year, free from any mainstream press coverage. Members of the group are major power players within the Republican Party and include Christian Zionists, politicians, religious figureheads, and other people associated with the right-wing faction of the U.S. political power structure. Bob Barr, in his book, The Meaning of Is, revealed that the plan to impeach Bill Clinton was formulated at a Council for National Policy meeting. There's little doubt that political agendas of some form are discussed and debated at their meetings. The fact that they are a 501c3 organization is actually a sick joke. Well, that's how they do it, though. That's how they got the Coors family in there and DuPont family in there in the 80s. I mean, that's what they do, because they essentially say, okay, you know, we will make political moves happen that are in line with your beliefs. You donate this big amount of money to us, and then you get it as a tax write-off as well. So they basically get there. It's just like lobbying. It's really no different than lobbying. Case in point, but you know, remember Bush used to campaign. His whole campaign platform was non-intervention, right? Remember that? Well, the Council for National Policy and the whole that intelligentsia of the right wing that is Vatican based, their whole platform is interventionism. And at a Council for National Policy meeting, to which to this day they've still never released Bush's transcript of, even though most of the other ones we can get transcripts of, Tim LaHaye gave Alex Jones I'm sorry, not Alex Jones. Tim LaHaye gave George W. Bush, Alex Jones, same guy, right? But he gave George W. Bush a questionnaire, and on that questionnaire, one of the main deciding factors for whether or not that they would vet Bush and put him out there and give him their stamp of approval was whether or not he would elect all pro-life judges to the Supreme Court, and he indeed said that he would. And then they gave him his stamp of approval. And then they used Ken Blackwell and some of these other guys to talk about it in the Secret Right Volume 1 to rig the election for Bush in Florida. That right there is a very, very distinct example of the importance of knowing about the CMP, importance of knowing about what they do and how much power they truly have. So that's the questions that I'm going to be answering the most in the Secret Right Volume 2 is, again, showing you really why what exactly these people have been up to, what is provable that we know they've done, the criminality we know that they have done, and it's really going to nail the door shut on why, like I said earlier, we should be against anybody who even associates with these people. Due to the fact that press coverage is limited to only a select few news outlets friendly to the group have been allowed in any access, it is next to impossible to find any video footage of their meetings. In fact, in the documentary film Silhouette City, I was going to use that clip from Silhouette City it's been on YouTube for 4 or 5 years now. It's been on there for a long time. I was actually going to, the movie never came out, never materialized. And somehow these people knew exactly where a CMP meeting was going to be, which I want to know how they knew that. They don't reveal that. And they show them in this video clip going up and asking about their group and asking for a member list. And then they tell them, oh, they can't get them. They can't have one. And they shoo them out of there and all the rest of it. But I mean, we can't even find out where these people are having their meetings at. And if this person is still out there and this person has the ability to determine where these people are going to have a meeting at, well, I don't give a rat's ass about some footage of you going up to the desk and asking if you can have a membership list. If you did your homework, Jack, you know you can't go up there and just get a membership list. So if you knew where the hotel is, and I think this whole thing was staged. I think this whole piece of footage for this thing was staged. I do. I'm sorry if that pisses some people off. I'm sorry if you think I'm an asshole because I think this clip was staged. I think it was, because the fact of the matter is, why waste your time if you've done your homework and you know about the group? Why waste your time going in there and filming something where you ask the clerk if you can have a member list or something, or if you can come in and then they won't let you? Your ass should have been parked across the street or parked wherever the goddamn parking garage is with a telescopic lens, waiting for those motherfuckers to come in and come out. They've got to, if they know where the meeting is, then they're going in, they're going out. Well, why not get in there and get some video? That's what I want. I want to find out where one of these goddamn meetings is so I can stake out who's going to be there. Like, that was my first question about, why isn't Jim Tucker doing this? When I found out about the CMP, I was like, why isn't Jim Tucker trying to find out where their meetings are? They're more secretive than the Bilderberg Group, folks. We find out about their meetings, but these guys meet 3 times a year in the United States, and we can't find out when and where they're meeting at? And you're okay with that? You need to wake up. So people ask me about this Silhouette City thing. I knew it for the longest time, but I question the validity of it. I question why the film never came out. I question a lot of things about it. It seems that these people have been contacted numerous times. I've tried contacting, no response. I don't know. It's very odd. Even upon request, the filmmakers were told they could not even receive a list of people attending the meeting or any other information pertaining to the group. Why weren't you filming? Why didn't you stand outside if you knew where it was at, buddy? Why didn't you go wait for them to come out and shoot the parking lot or something with your camera and get footage of these guys coming in and out of the place? That's what we need. God damn, waste of time. And people are just so obsessed with this clip right now, like it's a big deal. I'm like, you guys haven't seen this? I saw this fucking clip like 4 years ago. I don't know why everybody's acting like this is new. With this in mind, is with great surprise that video footage from within a Council for National Policy meeting is actually contained inside an Alex Jones documentary film. A few weeks ago, Josh Reeves discovered that in the Jones film, In Game 1.5, there is video of Phyllis Schlafly speaking at a Council for National Policy meeting. This means that either Jones, one of his crew members, or somebody friendly to Jones was in attendance. Whoever shot this footage was not only invited to the Council for National Policy meeting, but allowed to film, meaning they have to have a very close connections with the group. At an hour 41:26 in the below video embedded in In-Game 1.5, you see Schlafly talking in front of a podium that says Council for National Policy. Both myself and Josh Reeves have done extensive research into the Council for National Policy, and besides what is contained within In-Game 1.5, we have to find any other officially sanctioned video taken from inside of a Council for National Policy meeting. The only other clip I've seen from inside of one was the CNN clip of McCain a couple of years ago. This, of course, raises a number of questions as to why he's the only operation that we know of so far that has obtained video from one of their meetings. Well, not only that, but it shatters the myth that what he always says, folks, I never heard about this group until recently. I never even heard of them. And it shatters the myth that, folks, I control every aspect of my films. I do it all. Really? You do it all? Well, then, oh, well, somebody put that clip in there without me knowing about it. Well, then that shatters the whole thing about you do everything on your films, doesn't it, Mr. Jones? You're fucked, dude. Your credibility's shot. There's no way you can wiggle out of this. Every which way he tries to wiggle out of this, it's damaging. Any excuse he comes up with has a counterpoint to it that completely shatters anything he tries to backtrack out of this. So what he's going to do, he's probably just going to ignore it. In fact, a lot of people are trying to ignore this clip. And boy, I've noticed the COINTEL and the spooks and the haters have been out in force. In force. Since I started coming out with his info. I love it. I mean, there are people showing their true colors all over the place. Spooks and clowns, people used to call into shows, now starting to turn and act like they hate Josh Reeves. Oh, I love it, man. It's like, it's right on time. You guys, and some of these clowns are people I've called out, a long time ago and suspected of being, they always show their true colors eventually. It's one thing you always count on with these spooks and these infiltrators and these ops. You can always count on the fact they're going to show their colors to you eventually. You just sit back, bide your time, and they always do. There's been 4 or 5 of them through the years that have come through my chat room and called into the show and they act all buddy with you, and then they flip around and attack you and act like you're you're the enemy now. It's an incredibly funny operation that even on its premise is a failure, because there are no cults of personality associated with what I do. I mean, with Jones, there is. The guy's been in movies, two Richard Linklater movies he's been in. He's hobnobbing with the stars and all that. There's no, I don't even do that many video reports and stuff with my face in it, because I just don't like videoing myself and seeing myself on screen. But I'd rather be much behind the microphone. I got a face for radio, but it's a totally different thing. But I love how they try to run that operation on me. That's great, and they think that people fall for it, and they don't. At least not the people who have half a brain, anyway. That's what I've noticed. I mean, yeah, there are people that fall for it, but those people are, brain dead on fucking, SSRIs, they get into this stuff and it just makes them crazier than a shithouse rat, crazier than they already were. Sad to see, actually. But he says, this, of course, raised a number of questions as to why he's the only operation we know of so far as to obtain video from one of their meetings. If anybody else knows of any other video footage taken from inside of a Council for National Policy meeting, please contact me immediately. Either way, the fact that Jones has obtained this type of footage should raise even more questions about this man's credibility and so-called InfoWars operation he is running down in Austin, Texas. Is there really any more doubt that this guy is a controlled opposition figurehead? Answer to that question, absolutely, positively not. Absolutely, positively not. No question that the guy is is exactly that. Yes, sir, Bob. Well, we're going to take a break. We're going to roll about 50 minutes here, so we're going to take a break, play some tunes, come back, and then we'll get into more news and information, more topics of discussion for you here tonight. Back here with you on the Global Reality, right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Thank you for staying up late with me tonight, early, whatever you want to call it. But thank you for being here with us nonetheless. And boy, oh boy, we got a lot more to talk about here with you. And so we're going to be getting right back into it. So thank you so much for being with us. So man, oh man, I really I'm really doing so many things to make sure that Secret Ride Volume 2 is as good as it possibly can be. I'm really trying to make this just a breakout film for me. I'm really trying my best to do that. One thing I've noticed that I've got to go back and do now, which is going to add a little bit more time to it, but I've really got to shoot some more original footage for this thing. So one thing I don't have, man, and I don't want it to just be, news clips and still pictures, which unfortunately is with a lot of this information. Lee was telling me he was having the same problem, and it's with good reason, because I went through the same thing when I was making Volume 1 of Secret Right, was that you start getting some of this information, man, where there's not, there's not a lot of pictures to go with it. You can't find video to go with it. There's not a lot of pictures to go with some of this stuff. Some of these guys that we talk about and discuss this, there was that problem in Volume 1 where you can find like one picture of these guys. There's no pictures of these guys. It's very interesting. So that's the one critique, because I'm kind of going through it and I'm kind of nitpicking. I'm nitpicking at things myself so that other people won't do that later as much. Everybody always nitpicks everything. I do, but I think that it's important for me to do that first off, and that's the one thing I've noticed I'm lacking. So I think I'm going to shoot some more stuff, because I've got this. I got a high def camera that's all right. It's not a fucking $3,000 one like I need. It's a $400 one I bought refurbished. It was $400, but for me that was a lot of money. I didn't have it when I had Volume 1. I bought the camera last year, so I really want to make sure I get some more footage in there. So I think probably what I'm gonna have to do is just shoot some stuff of me, segues and me talking about different stuff and things like that. There is a place in Dallas I need to go at some point, the Sumner Institute of Linguistics, because it's here in Dallas, and that's it's in South Dallas. It relates to it's Wycliffe Bible translators. They're the ones that printed the Bibles and took them down to South America, and if they didn't take Christianity, then they got executed. And while we're on the subject of things that resemble the Crusades, which was exactly what went down there. Was exactly what's going on now. The Crusades never ended. It's always continued. And we were talking about the Council for National Policy earlier. And speaking of that, we have yet another one of the Council for National Policy stooges here showing his cards. Check this out. This will make you guys laugh. Rick Santorum says that the Crusades get a bad rap. Hey, no, wait just a darn minute there, mister. I'm a Christian. My name's Rick Santorum. I think those doggone Crusades get a bad rap. Yeah, murdering people gets a bad rap, huh? That's what these fucking guys always try to do. They always try to find a way to reconcile their murder. Murder is murder any way you slice it, buddy. And the Crusades were murder. If you're worried that there wouldn't be a 2012 candidate touting the pro-Crusades platform, then today is your lucky day. Quote, the idea that the Crusades and the fight of Christendom against Islam is somehow an aggression on our part is absolutely anti-historical. Former Senator Rick Santorum told a South Carolina audience yesterday, and that is what the perception is by the American left who hates Christendom. Oh, so left-wingers now are giving the Crusades a bad rap. Oh, my God. Santorum's defense of the Crusades came in Spartanburg, South Carolina, reports Andy Barr of Politico. South Carolina is an early and important GOP presidential primary state, and Santorum is considering a presidential run. Referring to the American left, Santorum observed that they hate Western civilization at the core. That's the problem. Santorum also suggested that America's involvement in the Middle East is part of our core American values. Well, they may be they're part of your core American values that were installed here by the priest class, by Rome, by the Vatican, but they're not my core values, and not a lot of other people. So speak for yourself there, ass clown. What I'm talking about is onward American soldiers. What we were talking about are core American values. All men are created equal. That's a Christian value, but it's an American value. The Crusades were religiously sanctioned military campaigns waged in Europe during the Middle Ages. Yeah, what's going on in the Middle East? I dubbed that the Crusades 2.0. And I've heard other people use that terminology after I coined it, which was interesting. I said that to Jim Mars one time. He about pissed on himself. He's like, yep, that's exactly what it is. During the Middle Ages and predated the emergence of the United States by a few centuries, the original goal was to recapture Jerusalem from Muslim rule, although along the way, Roman Catholic forces massacred thousands of Jews, among others. On the subject of Santorum, here's the thing that the Democratic strategist put out on November 20th, 2008. Sarah Posner, author for the indispensable weekly American Prospect feature, The Fundamentalist, spent a day hanging out in the hallways outside a meeting of the Council for National Policy, a shadowy umbrella group where religious right leaders often coordinate efforts with other elements of the conservative movement. She came back with all sorts of interesting experience. So this is the point of me bringing this up. This article is the answer to the question, is Rick Santorum a Council for National Policy member? Not that we didn't already have the answer to that question, but let me just seal the door shut a little farther here for those who may have any doubts. While the CNP was trying to look to the future last week, it seemed hopelessly enamored of its aging leaders. This is 2008. When I arrived to meet Warren Smith, the conservative evangelical activist and journalist who invited me to chat, we ambled past anti-evolutionist Ken Ham, who was holding court to a small but rapt audience in the hallway. I then eyed Left Behind author and CMP co-founder Tim LaHaye, who was shuffling in and out of the, quote, CMP networking room. Wow. The CMP networking room. Wow. And I caught a glimpse of Rick Santorum, who since being booted out of his Senate seat has led the charge against radical Islam from his perch in the Conservative Ethics and Public Policy Center. So right there, Rick Santorum's in the networking room at the CMP. And this guy's getting up there telling us that the fucking Crusades, which is exactly what the war in the Middle East is, was all right. No, murder is never okay, sir, in the name of anybody's fucking religion. We're all humans. We shouldn't be murdering each other. That's the problem. So again, you see these CMP type show what they're really all about. And that's exactly what they're really all about. And that's exactly why you should have a problem with anybody who associates with these guys. And I hate to have to tell you, and I hate to have to tell this to the people out there who thought their plan was going to go right along smoothly. Well, the genie's out of the bottle now, folks. We now know beyond any shadow of a doubt that the whole patriot movement, truth movement that rode on the back of the 9/11 truth movement, which was created grassroots, has been hijacked with the agenda of bringing about the race war that was envisioned in William Luther Pierce's book, The Turner Diaries. That's what the truth movement and the patriot movement has been hijacked and turned into. Period. End of story. But it's going to be exposed, and so is everybody who has a hand in it. I mean, it's done. The genie's out of the bottle now. There is no turning back and no stopping this now, because now a great number of people know the evidence and have seen the evidence, and it's going to be a wild ride this year, folks. In the CMP networking room, I caught a glimpse of Rick Santorum, who has since been booted from his post. Also spotted the religious rights anti-feminism doyen Phyllis Schlafly, who had earlier that day delivered a speech to the CMP Youth Council on how to find your place in the conservative movement. Oh, my God. Whoa, isn't that? Oh, man, can you imagine? The CMP Youth Council with Phyllis Schlafly speaking to the CMP Youth Council on how to find your place in the conservative. My God, as soon as I read that, I got the glimpse of Jones, of Alex Jones. You ever seen that picture where he's like 19 or 20? It looks like a yearbook picture kind of, but I always call it the CIA Mossad class of 95 picture. Mud Puppy will have it in the chat room for you in about 2 seconds. I'm not even looking at the damn chat, but I know for a fact my psychic powers tell me Mud Puppy is putting that picture in the chat room. 3, 2, 1. There it is. But I just got a picture of Jones, man, sitting in a, can you see it? Sitting in the CMP Youth Council, how to find your place in the conservative movement. That's exactly to a T what I've described, what Lee has described about how that they bring people in for the different factions. You know, you've got the truthers, you got the patriots, you got the militia types, you got the T-bangers, you got the neocons, you got the Christian Reconstructionists, and they seem in the media to be against each other. You know, you have Alex Jones and people over there. Well, those are the phony right-wingers. No, we're the Ron Paul and the Constitutionalists are the real right-wingers. You see how they do that? That's a CMP ideology, folks. The only way Jones could have ever got that ideology, he's inside of that agenda. How to find your place in the conservative movement, talking to youth people, you know, telling them, encouraging them what they can do to, because that's how they set it up. They set it up so there's all these different factions broken up within the party so that the party never gains any traction. They do that so socialism can take over. That's what the formation of the CMP was all about. Everything under Reagan was about bringing in socialism. That's what the father of Reaganomics, Paul Craig Roberts, brought in with Reaganomics. That was a socialist monetary plan that brought in what we're going through now in the financial crisis. Unbelievable. And people just give that guy a free pass and call him a patriot. Paul Craig Roberts is not a patriot. He and everybody else involved in the CMP are complete sellouts to the United States of America, and I'm not even a flag-waving one of these hysteria guys, but I'm telling you that's the truth. That old saying, man, about the South's going to rise again, that was probably started out of a Freemason lodge of the Scottish Rite. Because the people that caused the Civil War to happen, and we know beyond a shadow of a doubt it was the Jesuits, even Lincoln said that, that'll be in the new film too, are the same people, the Jesuits, who were involved with all of these white supremacists, all of these CMP types and the rest of it. Look at Jones, the John Birch Society. Every head of the John Birch Society has been Jesuit trained. Starting to see this now? All this violent conflict and armed conflict and we need to rise up and this race war stuff and the Turner Diaries, all this stuff making more sense to you now? And they're leading good-meaning people who just want truth to be unwilling pawns in their race war in the fulfillment of the Turner Diaries. It sickens me to death knowing there are people out there trying to do this, and they are. The fix is in. Posner talked Smith into giving her a sense of what was being said in the Council for National Policy's closed-door sessions. What I'm hearing is that there is no loyalty to the Republican Party. There you go. There you go. See? Exactly what I just told you. Said Smith, meaning no loyalty to the party as constituted by, but loyalty to one purge of insufficiently conservative members. What Richard Vidry talks about is not a third party, but a third wave. Basically, there needs to be a flowering of grassroots conservative activism in local groups, local PACs. He's basically saying you've got a Republican county commissioner in Buzzard's Breath, Texas, and he's not a conservative. Run a conservative against him. Well, that's a new and refreshing conservative strategy, Abe, but it's certainly in accord with what's being said and heard across much of the conservative movement. There's nothing wrong with the GOP that a more consistently conservative message can't fix. What's missing from the usual conservative talk, however, is the upbeat, we're the wave of the future sentiment so common prior to 2006. They know that they are the GOP are in serious trouble now, and there's not much time for laughter. That's why they're using that's why Glenn Beck is mirroring some of the things that Alex Jones says now. That's what they're doing. They're using the phony revolution to revitalize the Republican Party. And so they're getting all these well-meaning people who just want truth and just want to see things change into believing that Ron Paul and all the rest of that is the way to go. They get them to rebuffer the Republican Party, and then they continue on with their bicker and bitching and moaning and never achieve anything. Meanwhile, we're more and more enslaved every day. The whole politics of left, right, and supporting candidates, it's just a distractionary thing to keep you from trying to take real action, folks. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get you to give your power up to another person. Just give your power up to Ron Paul. Let him take care of your complaints with what the government's doing. No. We've given our power away too long. It's time to stop giving it to the power to the politicians and take it for ourselves. And I know a lot of you out there that don't like me and don't like my show and everything else can understand that. I know you can if you just let yourself understand. The problem is, a lot of you won't let yourself come into the truth. You know the truth. You know what's before you. You know what I say is true about this, but you won't let yourself be allowed to know it and accept it and made a part of yourself because you're scared. You can disavow your associations with the CMP. You can disavow your associations with white supremacy or any of that stuff. You can do that. Don't be scared. Come into the light while you still have time. Do it for your soul. I'm trying to put this out there to get people to hopefully change their tune about supporting these CMP guys and having them on their show and supporting Ron Paul and all the rest of these Jesuit guys in the John Birch Society. My God, disavow yourself. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. Do it now. I'm giving you the warning, please. Because if you don't, it's not going to be pretty when some of this information comes out over the next few months. And I'm not even talking about what's in my film, more than what in Lee's film. I'm just saying. I don't want anybody to ever say we didn't give you a chance. Let's see what we have here as far as email tonight. globalrealityshow@gmail.com. Got several here going back several days. Here's one. This came in a few days ago. And I sent a message back to this person. Josh, I was wanting to know your thoughts and opinions on someone named Bob Tuskin from theylie.com. I do have an opinion. And I'll just read you. I'll read you what I wrote back to this person, and I'll comment on what I wrote back. I said I'll answer this on the show as well, as I'm doing now. But personally, I don't think that Bob Tuskin takes this stuff very seriously. Either that, or he's a rank amateur who needs to spend a little bit more time researching before going out and making the rest of us look like fools with his blatant lack of knowledge. Case in point, the recent Penn and Teller video he did. As I will elaborate on this more on my show, long story short, not only did he mess up some big-time facts, Yeah, he said something. Oh, yeah, there's 94,000 engineers or architects and engineers. He was getting numbers all over the wrong all over the place. Building 7 stuff he was getting wrong. I mean, the guy, he goes up to Penn and Teller and he asks them, you know, this stuff. And I had a girlfriend who was way off into Penn and Teller for a while, and man, it was. I kept wondering where she had these fucked up ass beliefs from, and it was coming from them because they're supposed to be they're skeptics, but yet they're illusionists. But I'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, this guy Tuscan, you know, he yells out. He basically made himself look like an idiot, like an uneducated. And I don't know whether the guy's just a good-hearted idiot, well-meaning, you know, dupe, or whether he's put out there intentionally to make us all look like we're idiots. But if you watch this video Bob Tuscan did with Penn and Teller, it's just it's horrible, man. It was painful to watch this guy try to go into some speech instead of getting right to his question. And then once he finally got to his question, he didn't even have all his facts right. At least be prepared, man. I understand there are a lot of people out there that are just getting into this and they just want to do something that they think will make a difference. And a lot of them have good hearts and they're not really meaning to, you know, but you got to understand, man, when you put yourself out there, you got to understand that, you know, they already view most of us as uneducated, unknowledgeable retards who can't back up what they believe. And I think there's enough videos of uneducated retards who can't back up what they believe, screaming and yelling stuff at celebrities already. But aside from his 9/11 info not being up to stuff for someone who even watched Loose Change and nothing else only once, he also fails to ask Penn and Teller about their membership in the Cato Institute. Yeah, they're both libertarians. This is a much bigger issue because it nails them to a lot of big globalist insiders. Do a search on the Cato Institute and look at their founders and members. Yeah, do a search on the Cato Institute. Paul Craig Roberts was in the Cato Institute. If I had an opportunity at a Q&A to ask Penn and Teller a question, I would ask them about their membership in the Cato Institute and start listing off the facts and how they're connected to the globalists. Because when you see how they're connected to the globalists, the Rockefellers and the rest of it, look at the funders and founders of the Cato Institute, CATO, the Cato Institute. Look who funds him, and then that will give you the answer to your question as to why, you know, Penn and Teller are poo-pooing 9/11 information. Anyway, either Tuscan is a good-hearted rookie who needs to learn more, or he's put there to make the rest of us all look like tards. I'll let you decide. So there you go. There's the answer. Well, yeah, I mean, it was pathetic. Pathetic attempt. And I just, you know, if you're going to go out and do that, man, be prepared. Make it short, make it sweet, have your information ready, and be ready to back it up if they say something back to you. If somebody comes up, because you're going to have people that are going to come up to you in the crowd or come up to you afterwards and are going to try and front you on the information and try to treat you like an asshole, and you got to be ready to come out with them with facts, hard facts, provable things that you can lay out cleanly, clearly, precisely. You got to work on it. Just going out half-cocked does not do anybody any good. That's why that's why when I went to that thing that had all those CMP members in it back in 2008, when I went to that, you know, I at first I had this idea in my head that I was going to do just that. I was going to go in there with a camera. I was going to act like I was all buddy-buddy with them. I was going to get up in their face, ask them about the CMP, rail on them, you know, put them on the spot. And then I realized, you know, it's the wrong tactic. Because what's going to happen? We spent all this money to get into this hotel, to get into this conference. And, you know, they're just going to call security and throw us out of here. And it's not, you know, it'll be a good YouTube video for a day and people will get a laugh out of it, blah, blah, whatever. But I decided to take the other route of just acting like, you know, because a lot of the stuff that they talked about at that conference, you know, anti-Agenda 21 stuff and things of that nature on the surface, you know, you could be on board with. That's the veil that these guys have gotten good at, whether it be white supremacists or whether it be CMP types or John Birch Society. That's how they rope so many people in. They talk about the Constitution. They talk about anti-globalist stuff, but it's what's below the surface that you have to dig a little deeper to find that brings up the questions that we all have. And now we know what the answer to those questions are. I mean, I'm finding fewer and fewer questions about the CMP anymore. It's pretty clear to me what these guys are doing now, and I think it's pretty clear to all of you as well. Anyway, let's see what else we have here. Somebody sent me some music. I love the name of this. I haven't listened to it yet. The name of this group alone sounds funny to me. Guy Goyam and the Cattle Boys. That's funny. Another person says, "Hi, Josh, you were right. I tried to post a comment on Alex Jones' channel. It said I made an error and to try again. I tried with some witty writing and still no go. No surprise, you know where he's coming from." Do you know anything about Jim Bell's thesis, Assassination Politics? No, I don't know anything about that. I sure don't know anything about that at all. Assassination politics, what, going around just killing them all until the power's overthrown? I don't know, man. If that's what that is, and that's what it sounds like to me, I mean, I know it sounds, like it, on the surface of it, yeah. Maybe that's the only choice or the only thing to do or whatever, but I don't agree with that. It's not something I would support. I want to make that crystal clear. I'm not down with violence. I'm not down with armed conflict. I'm not down with any of that stuff. This is a revolution of the mind, and it will stay a revolution of the mind as long as we maintain it that way. So let's see what else we have here from let's see. Emails. What else? Oh, here's a big one. This one should be pretty good. It says, "Hello, Josh. I found your work after I got suspicious about Alex Jones' V for Victory campaign, and like you did, I Googled the term on similar opinions on the situation. I very much agree with with you on the issue, but I sometimes wonder if Alex is just ignorant or consciously misleading people." Well, that's a good question. I mean, about part of me believes that he is doing it on purpose, and the other part of me believes that I think to a point he is consciously misleading people, but I don't know if he really knows how long he's been groomed for this and really the implications of it. And I don't think he cares. He's drunk on power. Either way, it really doesn't matter whether he knows ignorant of it or whether he's doing it on purpose, does it? Does it really matter? Because if we're really paying attention to the evidence, and the evidence is what we're mostly concerned with here, then whether or not he knows or whether he's ignorant to it or conscious of it really it really doesn't matter. Fact of the matter is, what he's doing is wrong. The things that he does is wrong, and the things that he's hiding and associating with need to be asked. I do not have anything personally against Alex. I don't either. Don't wish that guy any ill will whatsoever. This is where the information led us, and so it's too late to turn back now with everything that we know. But it's not anything against him as a person or him, I don't wish any ill will towards him or his family or anything else ever. I would never, as I said, that's not what I'm about here. He can hate my guts and wish ill will against me all he wants, but, which it really isn't the Christian thing to do, though, is it, Alex, Mr. Christian? But, doesn't make me hate him. I don't hate him. I just have a responsibility to expose the things about him that need to be exposed. Period. End of story. But you're right. The info and the way he covers it is sometimes not really helpful and distracting for the anti-NWO movement. My opinion at the moment is that there must be more than one person in Alex's body, and they are doing timeshares. Yeah. I totally. Still can't get over that time that I saw him and he glared at me like a demon. And this was back when I was a fan of him and a supporter of his. Never forget that. 2000. It was bizarre. Like he knew the future. Like he knew what I was going to do in the future. It's crazy. At the time, I was really blown away by it because like I said, I liked the guy and stuff, and it was an odd experience. But then after I got into this stuff and I started going, oh man, that's mind blowing. I mean, really, seriously. Because I was just standing there waiting in the line to get a beer. It was at his movie premiere of Terror Storm in Dallas, the Lakewood Theater. And the little box office, like the old box office where you'd get your ticket to go on the movie at, was right next to where the bar was. And I was just waiting in line to get a beer. And I'd seen him all day, walking around. He's all smiling. Hey, how's it going? All right. Thanks for coming out. Yeah. And waddling around like the penguin. Whack, whack, hey, guys. Whack, whack, whack. Hey, thanks for coming out. Jim Mars here. Right? And I just stand there waiting in line to get a beer. And I look over, man. He's just like gritting his teeth, like with his eyes bugged out. Like staring like a demon. It was scary as shit, man. Especially because I was like, what the fuck was that about? I remember telling people about it later, like, man, that was bizarre. Now I'm like, definitely makes you wonder. I'm currently listening to your interview with Lee Rogers from January 31st, 2011. I like it very much. I like especially your point that the elite wants everybody, even the alternative media, all to talk about Egypt and the revolts all over the world and the oil price crisis. And then we conspiracy researchers need to be aware and not unintentionally become their alternative media mouthpieces. That's one of the reasons why sometimes I don't do a show. When they start running some of these ops and that just consumes the talking points in the conversation, and I don't have anything else to bring to the table, because when I'm working on films, I'm not researching a lot of other things that much. And the time when I'm not working on films and I'm researching other stuff is when I bring other stuff to the table on the show that isn't news. You see? So yeah, I mean, I'm very conscious of that, and it felt sometimes at times that maybe, by focusing in on these subjects that they bring out in the media in a large way, that somehow we are helping them, I am very, very much conscious of that. Very much try to not do that as much as I can. I agree with you that there are far more important events going on for the elite right now that the alternative media does not mention at all. I am talking in particular about the marriage of Prince William to Kate Middleton, April 29, 2011 at 11 a.m. at Westminster Abbey, which in my opinion has very highly occultic and magical implications for the elite themselves in the world. It most certainly does. Cannot argue with that. It's all over London. The symbology and the iconography there is staggering. Unbelievable. I feel his marriage is connected to the regime changes in North Africa, but especially Egypt, because of the elite's bloodline connection in ancient Egypt. I can't argue with you there either. This person knows what the hell they're talking about. I like that. I love our audience, though. I've never come across the people that are smarter, more intelligent, and know what's going on than people in the audience. I mean, sure, you get some that come in every now and again that are mental cases, but for the most part, we've got just the most amazing listening audience, varied. They're all over the world, every race, color, creed, male, female. I mean, a lot of these, shows are so male dominated. They don't really have a large female listening audience. We have a gigantic female listening audience. Gigantic. It's amazing. I'm glad that's what, that lets me know that we're reaching everybody, not just, one specific demographic or something. And that's, because it's been just this white male overlord thing. And yes, I'm a white male, but you know what I mean? It's just been this white male dominated, mentality with this stuff for too long. And it hasn't been garnered towards thinking. It's been garnered towards getting you to have an emotional reaction. Your low vibratory self. I want to talk about things that inspire the higher conscious mind. Let's create a revolution through art or something. Let's not do it with guns and weapons. And we can do that. It's all we have to do is show people that they don't have to take what's been sold to them, and they can think for themselves, and the tide will turn. Let me continue on here with this email. Because of the elite's bloodline connection to ancient Egypt, in my opinion, the elite is taking Egypt back under their wing again because they have plans for it, and its sacred sites in the next decade, or it will be an openly known NWO hotspot again when their one world government is in place. Maybe they will even repair the pyramids or build new ones. Who knows? I do not know if you're aware of the research of the late Rick Clay on 2012 London Olympics, Prince William Henry, etc. Yes, I am. People are always asking me about Rick Clay. The guy had some shows and he wound up dead, suicided. You know, somebody, I heard that he had family, his family was involved in the Illuminati, and that's why they killed him for coming out with secrets. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've heard. Somebody emailed me recently asking where I got that information. That's just what I heard. I don't know where it came from. Rick very well proved that Prince William is seen or considered by the elite to be the reincarnation of Horus, and that Diana was Isis and Prince Charles is playing the role of Osiris. Maybe you've covered this information already in one of your earlier shows. Yeah, I've talked about it a bit in some of the past shows. Yes, I have. But like I said, I just found your work and your website a few days ago, and I've only scanned through some of it. Here is a blog I posted on the Indigo Forum that I'm a member of that contains Rick Clay's research on 2012 and how Prince William fits into it. I think Rick talks about William in four or five of the 9-part interview. Yeah, I don't know if I have that one or not. So thank you for sending that to me. I'll get that one in the rotation here on the network. Thank you. Great listener here. Thank you for finding the show as well. New listener, man. That's awesome. I'm pretty out there in my belief system and conspiracy research, and even go to into more of the interdimensional and energetic agendas of the aspect of the conspiracy that most people consider a lunatic. I've talked about that in the past. You can listen to some of the shows that I've done where we read some of the scholars' papers on some of that stuff. Yeah, I've gotten into all that on the show. Hit up archive.org. Go to archive.org, type in Josh Reeves Global Reality. There's all kinds of classic shows up there where you can hear me talk about some of that stuff, including my magnum opus, the 18-hour mega broadcast of me reading Vera Stanley Alder's The Finding of the Third Eye in its entirety. It says that I feel your audience can probably follow you on the Prince William wedding importance of how it fits in with the ancient mystery school religions and occult knowledge and symbolism. And the upcoming and desired New World Order of the elite, my suggestion would be at least cover it in one of your shows and see what your fellow researchers think about it. I feel the elite want normal tabloid media to talk about the William and Kate wedding, but surely they don't want the attentive media, the alternative media, to talk about it and decipher the occult significance of it all and with the role in which William is supposed to play in this play. I understand people are really, really heavily interested in that, but I don't know how much I'll be talking about that, honestly. I mean, I understand its significance. I understand the importance of it. I understand that Prince William is being groomed to be probably the head of everything. People have called him the Antichrist. He very well may be. I don't know. I do know they made him Order of the Garter, and he's in his 20s. They usually don't make people Order of the Garter until they're in their 60s or 70s. You know, it's something you have to be a major player in to get. And they gave it to him back in like 2008, Order of the Garter. I mean, that's a huge, huge thing. So I understand, but I'm just not that into it, you know. They're going to be if I see something, I'll keep my eye on it. If I see something I think needs to be pointed out, I will point it out and talk about it here on the show. But I'm probably not going to make that a big issue of the stuff I talk about. I'm just being honest with you. It's just not something I'm really into. It's just because I'm like, oh, it's just one of those things where I'm like, yeah, well, you know, there it is. I mean, yeah, it's there. But thank you for your consideration of my suggestion to cover this topic of William's wedding and getting him ready to start his ministry. Thank you for your time and energy in you invest in exposing the magical power elite's agenda and educating your people. All the best to you. Well, thank you, sir. And I'll definitely do my best to point out some of that stuff as it comes out there in the media around the time when he gets married. So we'll talk about that. But anyway, we're going to take a break, come back, and we've got more news for you here tonight. Late night, back here with you on the Global Reality, right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Thank you for being with us tonight. Late night Moonbat edition of the broadcast here for you. And we're rolling on here into the evening, into the night. Glad you can be with us, and glad you're staying up late with us. If you're not staying up late with us and you're listening to it on an archive, well, then thanks for being with us there as well. The ways you support our broadcast to keep us commercial free and uncensored. Again, thanks to our donators this month who helped us get what we need. Thank you so much. And without you, we can't continue. And so thank you so much to everybody out there that supports us. We're very close as well as having the rest of what we need for the Secret Volume 2. One more piece of the puzzle I got to get. The little drum box here thing to go for the rest of the soundtrack, and then we're done. That'll be everything we need. I think it's like $500 or something like that, but that does it. So thank you so much, everybody out there. And the donate button is there for films, for other things. If you want to be a person to grant, money for us to buy more equipment, more things to do. That's how you do that. And the chipping banner's there for the bills every month. So just make sure that you use one for the bills and one for the donate button, just for films and all the other amounts there. I've got more news I want to get into here with you on the show. But I have tons of stuff here that's just been piling up for days. So I want to make sure I get into as much of this stuff as I possibly can. More news on Earth losing its magnetic field. And the slowly moving trickle towards the shifting of the poles. Pilots and boaters adjust to shift in magnetic north. From the sunsentinel.com. Magnetic north, the point at the top of the Earth that determines compass headings, is shifting its position at a rate of about 40 miles per year. In geologic terms, it's racing from the Arctic Ocean near Canada towards Russia. As a result, everyone who uses a compass, even as a backup to modern GPS navigation systems, needs to be aware of the shift, make adjustments, or obtain updated charts to ensure that they get where they intend to go. Authorities say that includes pilots, boaters, and even hikers. You could end up a few miles off or a couple of 100 miles off, depending on how far you're going, said Matthew Brock, a technician with Lauderdale Speedometer and Compass, a Fort Lauderdale company that repairs compasses. Although the magnetic shift has little impact on the average person and presents no danger to the Earth overall, allegedly, it is costing the aviation and marine industries millions of dollars to upgrade navigational systems and charts. Why is magnetic north shifting? The Earth's core of hot liquid iron is constantly moving. That motion, combined with forces such as Earth's rotation, dictate the position of its magnetic north, not to be confused with geographic north or the North Pole. Right. See how they say that? The magnetic north is shifting, but the poles aren't shifting. See? You notice how they try that? Magnetic north is shifting all the time. It's a continuous process, not an event. Jeffrey Love, geophysicist with the U.S. Geological Survey Geomagnetism Program based in Golden, Colorado, said. Oh, it's like that, huh? It's like that. Okay. Yeah, y'all want to play that game, huh? Yeah, magnetic north is shifting, but not, it's okay if you say that. But, you know, if you say there's a pole shift going on, well, you must be one of those conspiratorial kooks, right? These guys think they're so slick. You're not slick. We got you figured out. All right. Let me move on here. Got a big stack of stuff. You know, we've got listeners in New Zealand, and I want to make sure everybody out there is okay. If you're a listener in New Zealand, we have quite a few. I hope everybody, all of our listeners in New Zealand are okay. Please give us a report if you were involved in this. From New Zealand, globalrealityshow@gmail.com. Police imposed a nightly curfew in some areas of Christchurch, New Zealand's second largest city, amid concerns more buildings may collapse following the magnitude 6.3 earthquake that killed at least 75 people. And so we, man, it's the Earth is in play. This ties in with the magnetic pole shift and the rest of this stuff that's going on, most definitely. Check this out. You know, I've talked about before, and I saw it again a couple of weeks ago and didn't even cover it. But you guys have heard me go off on the show. Those of you who have been listening for a long time have heard me go off on the show a million times, because at least once every 2 or 3 months, they roll out, and they have for, I don't know how long they've been doing it, but I can tell you they've been doing it for the past 4 years since I've been on air, since 2007. Every couple of months, they come out with a news article that says the IMF says that they need new currency to replace the dollar. And I mean, I've covered some variation of that story. I can't tell you how many times on the show. It comes out, and they think that we don't notice that. And when you're like me and you're paying attention to this stuff all the time, and you have the type of memory that I do where you can have total recall and remember covering these things, it's unbelievable. I mean, every couple of months, it's some story about how the IMF, yes, we are aware the IMF wants to get rid of the fucking dollar. How much more proof do you need? But they've taken it to a whole other level this time. I mean, again, how much longer can we beat this dead horse? And this is why sometimes, like I said earlier, you know, I just don't want to ever get up here and beat any dead horse over and over and over again. But here we go. IMF says weaker dollar would help global growth. So if Americans suffer by having their currency devalued and are reduced to more and more abject poverty and, you know, forced to eat crappier and crappier food and live in worse conditions, that's good because it will help global growth. And that's what the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, one of the worst globalist organizations in the world, wants. The International Monetary Fund called for a weaker dollar to help the United States reduce its deficits with the rest of the world and rebalance the global economy. Right, so we're going to have to suffer, but hey, it's good because it'll reset the global economy, right? Why should we be the ones to suffer? We're not the ones that brought about this. And these people that have been running this show give me control of a country's monetary system, and I care not who makes its laws. Mayor M. Shelter Rothschild. My God. You know how long we've been controlled by these fucking money changers? Centuries, folks. But yet we're the ones that have to suffer for something they've been doing for thousands of years. Unbelievable. They're going to overstep, though. I promise you they're going to overstep, and it's going to blow up in their face at some point. In the report prepared for a group of 20 finance chiefs meeting last week, the IMF said that its calculations showed the dollar remains on the strong side of medium-term fundamentals. I can't even talk about it. It's like, yeah, the IMF wants to end the dollar so they can create a basket of currencies so that they can change OPEC trading only in dollars for oil over to a basket of currencies which then they want to take all the world's resources, conglomerate it down into one conglomerate, create artificial scarcity, jack the prices way up, and then there can be nobody that can come and challenge that because all of the oil in the world will be controlled and be under the control of one entity, one group of entities. That's the plan. That's why they're hijacking the gas and jacking the gas up right now. That's it. DEA to legalize marijuana only for big pharma. Now, this is interesting because I've talked about, you know, Monsanto owning the patents to genetically modified marijuana, and just like the genetically modified food, that's what they want to do. That's what they're planning on doing. They want to make marijuana legal and then give the contract to produce all the legal marijuana to Monsanto so they can produce their genetically modified marijuana that God knows does what to you because it's modified, and then make all the, you know, growing your own or growing organic or any of that stuff illegal. A Drug Enforcement Administration proposal to reclassify the main psychoactive chemical in marijuana as Schedule III substance would allow pharmaceutical companies to market the drug while still penalizing common recreational use. Oh, so it's illegal for you to smoke it, but it's legal for the drug companies to use it and sell it to you so long as you know, get a prescription or whatever. That's horseshit. But there's potheads right now probably going, oh, it's great, man. It's a good thing. I hope they do it. I'll smoke Monsanto weed. I don't care. I'll smoke anything shit. I'll smoke the seeds. I don't give a damn. I'll smoke it all. Waste not, want not. The main psychoactive chemical in marijuana, Delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, is currently a Schedule I substance within the U.S. Controlled Substance Act, the most restrictive schedule within the greatest criminal penalties. In November 2010, the DEA proposed reclassifying a synthetic THC as a Schedule III substance, which would place it among substances such as hydrocodone and allow it to be dispensed with a written or oral prescription. The DEA's intent is to expand the federal government's Schedule III listing to include pharmaceutical products containing naturally derived formations of THC, while simultaneously maintain existing criminal prohibitions on the plant itself. Well, exactly. That's what they're going to do. They're going to allow Big Pharma, and they're going to allow Monsanto and all the rest of these clowns to come in and run the game. That's the whole plan. Oh, yeah. Schedule I, man. That's where all of the, you know, anything that has a psychoactive, anything, marijuana, DMT, LSD, mescaline, psilocybin, Schedule 1. Yeah, but then heroin and hydrocodone and cocaine, those are like Schedule 2, Schedule 3. So let me get this straight. The stuff that makes you a drug addicted, physically addicted to a chemical substance, to where if you take that substance out of your body rejects it and starts turning on you and basically killing you. Those get a less penalty. You're going to spend less time if you get caught with one of those. But if you get caught with one of these things that expands your mind and makes you see the world for what it really is, well, that's going to carry a harsher penalty. It's just unbelievable how fucked up we are in this world and in this country. We have a law like that. We are fucked up, and not a Ron Paul or a Barack Obama or a Bush or anybody else is ever going to do jack diddly shit to change it. If poisons carry a lesser penalty than something that is a plant that naturally occurs on this planet, if a synthetic chemical that poisons your body and makes you an addicted wreck carries a less harsh penalty than something that is naturally occurring on this planet, a mushroom or, ergot synthesized from LSD from mold, or, marijuana, a plant. I mean, my God. You starting to get this? Because if we still have naturally occurring plants illegal that they can lock you up for owning, we are fucked, and not a Ron Paul, not a Barack Obama, not a left, right, not a John Birch Society, not a Patriot movement, not a truth movement, not anything is going to fix that. We got our priorities way out of fucking whack. Well, I think we're going to leave it there tonight. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, being with us here tonight, and it's getting late, early, however we want to look at it. So we're going to wrap it up there tonight. Again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. No, nothing's been wrong. Everybody said, "Oh, how come there hadn't been a show? Haven't been a show?" Well, we didn't. Like I said, we had some abysmal support over the past couple of weeks, but it's picked up. So thanks to everybody who has supported us. Again, please support us if you can, folks. We stay commercial free and uncensored because of you, the listener. And excuse me. Thanks to everybody out there for showing that you want us here and you want us to continue, and I will continue to do my best. My name is Josh Reeves. I love each and every one of you. We'll see you next time for the broadcast. You guys have a great night. Take care.